Hey guys, it's Melissa Twitchell with eXp Realty, your buyer's agent in Arizona. I am asking for just a few minutes of your time. I will try to keep it as concise as possible, but please watch this video. There are some really big changes coming in the real estate world. They impact you as a buyer. This is not just going to be me that is doing this. This is every single agent out there, starting effective August 1st. And August 17th, they're kind of phasing it in. There are some big changes coming to how a buyer side of the transaction is handled. So I wanted to get this information to you, show you the form, walk you through it. That way, if you have questions, you can reach out. We can talk about those questions. So with this settlement, it is not yet completely finalized. Final approval has not yet been given. So it is an evolving process. So bear with me. There is a chance that the forms could have some adjustments made to them, but I will try to keep you updated. It's just these forms really weren't available to us too much earlier than now. So we are just getting these out to you with changes fully implemented by August 17th and some of them starting to roll out August 1st. So for the buyer, the two big things that are changing is one, technically, we can no longer couple the commission together on a listing where the listing agent says, hey, Mr. Seller, I want you to pay me 6% or whatever, 5%, 4%, whatever amount they choose to put on there. I want you to pay that to me for selling your home, and I'm going to split that up and give money to the buyer's agent and keep money for myself as your listing agent. They're decoupling the commissions, so it can no longer be combined. They are also having a form signed that says that I am working for you as a buyer's agent. These are my roles and responsibilities. This is the amount of money that if the seller is not willing to pay, that you will be paying for my commission. Now, my goal absolutely 100% is to still get this money from the seller. And I think that a lot of sellers will still offer it. I just can't guarantee that because unfortunately, there's a lot of confusion around the whole topic. Some people are misunderstanding it, but hopefully a lot of clarity will be given to the topic so that agents and sellers and buyers, everyone can be on the same page. So for this document, my job, my role is called the buyer broker. So I am on the side of the buyer operating as your agent under my brokerage EXP. So with the form that you will sign, I'm going to actually go over that with you right now, just because it is definitely, there's a lot to it. It's not really different than anything that we've done before. We've had a buyer broker agreement. It's just the timing of getting it signed is a little different now. So let me go ahead and share this screen with you. So first and foremost, please, please, please know if the numbers startle you, if you are worried about being able to afford buying a home with the potential of being liable for my fee, do not panic. Do not freak out. Let's talk. I will never stand in the way of somebody being able to purchase a home just because of this change. So I will be willing to work with and negotiate with a buyer regarding my commission. However, the way that the new rules are written, I have to ask for the maximum amount that I would ever possibly receive from a seller on this form upfront, and I have to do it before we even start looking at homes. So, in order to combat that, in the additional terms section, I've also called out what I like to refer to as my standard rate. Commissions are negotiable, so this is just what I choose as my minimum number that I'm willing to work for. But like I said, I don't want to stand in anybody's way. Let's talk if this is a problem for you. So in the form, first and foremost, I want to call out it's cancelable. There's a clause in here you can cancel at any time as long as we're not under contract on a home. So let's go back to the top. We're going to talk about the type of properties that's going to be marked on here as residential properties in the greater Phoenix metro area. I'm going to have a long expiration date on there just because it's a cancelable agreement. If you don't want to work with me, then we can cancel it out. I highly doubt that'll happen just because I do try to work really hard for my clients, be really good at my job, and be a great resource for you throughout the buying process. Not to mention, I can be a little bit of a bulldog, a shark. I don't know. I tend to be a little bit aggressive sometimes with my negotiations and can do a good job for my clients to keep money in your pocket as much as possible on the buy side. So, but anyhow, so the agency disclosure, there's going to be another form just in case if by some odd chance it happens to be one of my listings that you're interested in buying, there's a special form that has to be signed, but there will be an agency disclosure that checks the box and says, I am working for you as your buyer's agent. The broker's efforts, so it goes through and talks about the roles of what a buyer's agent is going to do. It is not just simply finding you a property. There is a lot more to it. So that talks about that. This is kind of a high level overview in section 4. And then here in section 5, we're talking about working with other agents at the same time as you're working with me. Now, some agents may be willing to do this. I personally, I don't like doing it because I pour my heart and soul into my clients. I am available for you as often as humanly possible. So I like to ask for your respect in return for my time. Please don't go signing a bunch of agreements with other people, but look for that section that I talked about earlier. If you're unhappy with the service that you're being provided by someone that you are in an agreement with, talk to them, see what you can do. If you're not working with any other agents, then we will be just fine. I am putting in here that the buyer is party to one active, non-exclusive buyer broker representation agreement. So just meaning that you're not going to be working with a bunch of other agents. So, then we've got the broker fee listed in here saying that the buyer agrees to pay the broker as provided below for any properties involving the broker's efforts. No broker fee is due if the efforts involve only locating and presenting suitable properties for consideration. The broker fee is not set by law and is fully negotiable. This is basically a condition of closing that this is paid. This is where I was saying I have to list the highest possible amount that I could ever be offered. So when I reach out, let's say you find a home that you love, I reach out to the agent and they say, yeah, the seller is offering to pay you 3%, but I had added a bonus on because we weren't getting any offers. So there's another bonus of another $1,000. Well, if this form only says 3%, I can't collect that extra $1,000 and I can't hopefully pass that on to you because usually that's what I do. Not every time. If you're a total pain, I might keep that money for myself. Just kidding. I usually do try to share that with my clients though. So there's sometimes new home builders will have a special promotion where they're offering more to the buyer's agent. So I just want to basically take advantage of whatever money the seller is willing to give up. So we're putting that higher number there into section 6. But then we talk about that later on here. I'll cover that in just a minute. Collecting the broker fee from the seller, there's 2 ways to do it. It can be done as a credit to the buyer at closing, and then it comes out of that credit and pays me. Personally, this isn't my favorite option. I don't intend on using this, but it could happen. Thankfully, with seller concessions, the lending industry is also making changes to adapt to these new rules. So having my compensation plus seller concessions isn't going to put you over a maximum limit or anything like that. It does just kind of change the way that the categories are filled out by title. So my preferred option will be the option number 2, direct seller to broker compensation. I'm going to be filling out a document whenever we're writing your offer. We're going to incorporate that document into the contract. It's going to be part of the contract so that you will have no liability to pay my commission because we're making that part of the contract. So if the seller accepts, they are accepting that they are paying the commission. All right. So down here in the additional terms, this is where I have stated all parties acknowledge the percentage listed in section 6 is the max amount that would be requested. If the seller is offering a lesser amount or none, the buyer shall pay to the buyer's broker 2.5% of the purchase price. This is a number that I have selected. Again, I have the power to change this. So if this is going to be a problem for you purchasing a home, you let me know and we will work through it. But anyhow, 2.5% of the purchase price. Buyer is responsible for ensuring they have funds to cover the 2.5% or the portion that the seller is not paying. So this will be a little complicated if funds are tight and we're submitting an offer and the seller, for example, isn't willing to tell us how much they are offering. We're going to submit an offer asking for a reasonable amount, and we are going to essentially try best ditch effort to keep the money from coming out of your pocket. But if at the end of the day the seller says, no, absolutely not, I'm not paying any commission, then that's when we're going to have that discussion and figure out what number I'm willing to take as an absolute minimum number. But let's say, for example, the seller is willing to pay 2% and I have 2.5 on here. You and I are going to have a conversation. If you're happy with my service and you love what I've done for you and you feel that I deserve that 2.5%, I would so greatly appreciate you saying, hey, Melissa, don't worry about that. I'm willing to pay you the extra 0.5%. So that is essentially what that additional term section is calling out. I do have to let you know that at times I do work with other buyers. So sometimes I will have to present an offer and represent multiple buyers on the same transaction, or excuse me, not the same transaction, but the same house, the same property. So that does happen from time to time. So it's just being called out there so that you acknowledge that. And again, we're back to that cancellation. So this is the new process. If you go and talk to a different agent and they tell you, oh no, I don't need you to sign anything, they are not informed. Do not work with that person if you want a transaction with someone who actually knows what they're doing. So if somebody tells you, I do not need a form signed by you so that I can represent you as a buyer, take extreme caution, walk away, come back to me, let's talk. If you have questions on this, let me know. We are going to be sending these out for signatures for anyone who if I've been doing video tours for you or taking you and showing you homes, we're going to be doing this process. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you watching. I tried to keep this as short as possible, but if you have questions, text me, call me, let's set up a Zoom. We can meet in person, whatever works for you. I want to make sure that you're comfortable with this transition and have all of your questions answered. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.